Today, I'm joined by the seventh president of Norfolk State University, Dr. Javaune Adams-Gaston. Dr. J, thank you so much for agreeing to sit down with me today.
It is my pleasure and honor to be with you, Jalen, and thank you for doing this.
I want to jump right in and talk about what the university is facing right now, which is the fall reopening of the campus. I know that Norfolk State's response to COVID-19 was as early as February 17th when your cabinet began discussing continuity of operations planning, which was very early on, actually. So with all of the planning and mitigation that has taken place, will it be safe for students and faculty to return to campus in August?
Thank you for that question, and it's one that is a question that we're dealing with every day as we look at how things are unfolding, not only for the campus community, but for the community of Norfolk and the Hampton Roads community, as well as the state. And so it really is thinking first and foremost how we are going to support students, faculty, and staff in the upcoming year, and what will ensure that to the degree that we are able to, that we have done all the things to mitigate some of the concerns that might be out there. So we're looking every day, we're working with the state every day. I work with a group of, we call it the Council of Presidents. They're presidents of the other public institutions of higher education in the state. And we're working together to try to do the best possible thing for students, faculty, and staff. And so it's an evolving process, but we put that safety as a priority for the institution.
Yes, and I know a lot of people are saying we're basically building the plane as we're flying it. Basically, all of the university presidents around the country are having to figure out how to make sure it's safe to go back on campus. But on July 8th, the university released a 41-page reopening plan. It's kind of thick right here. I have read through it along with my team. Many students and parents want to know, should the university be held liable if any students or faculty contract the virus? And before you answer that question, I want to mention some of the things in that plan include modified class schedules to support social distancing. The number of people allowed in the class will be limited, and also making sure that masks are being worn around campus.
Right. So what is difficult is each individual and each parent, each family, each support system will be working along with their student to make the best decision that they can. What we can provide is what we believe will be the safest environment. If we can provide that, we need to figure out if we can't, will we need to do something different? But if we can, to the best of our ability, and the way that plan reads, although we have backup to the full reopening with everybody back on campus, is that we're expecting that we're going to do social distancing. So we're doing that in the classrooms. Right now, we are creating the plexiglass around the faculty and spacing around the students, which means that often a class, I use this example all the time, a class that's meant for 75 students or 70 students would not have all 70 students in the class at one time. They'd have 30 in the class on Tuesday and 35 in the class on Tuesday and 35 watching remotely, and then they switch, and then 35 in the class on Thursday and 35 watching remotely. But we're also looking at making sure that there's a social distance, that there are hand sanitizing units that are easy for and accessible for people in all of our buildings, and that we have wipes so that people can wipe when they come in and wipe when they leave. Just the things that we can do to help move this along. The most important thing our students, faculty, and staff are going to have to do is to mask. And it's a different way of communicating and connecting with people because there is that barrier, but it is critical that everybody use the mask at all times because we know that that will help with the spread of the disease.
Yes, ma'am. And a lot, like I mentioned before, a lot of campuses and universities around the country are having to figure out how we're going to move forward with COVID being around. How will this pandemic affect Norfolk State and higher education going forward?
So this pandemic has a deep impact on higher education. But I always say to people, higher education was changing anyway. You are what we call digital natives. That means you've always had the internet, you've always had digital information. So you know how to go out and find excellent information all the time. What the college experience adds to that is inside the classroom and outside the classroom, the experiences that help you to be able to grow, develop, think differently, develop your leadership skills, develop critical thinking, develop your written skills and your oral skills so that you are at the front of the line when people are looking for the next talent. So we've had to, you know, as you are aware, in March, we had to pivot from being in person to 100% online. And I know that that was difficult for the faculty, and I applaud the faculty for getting that pivot, but also for the students, because for many students, that's not the primary way that they receive information best. So we're looking for ways to balance that. That's why we have a multimodal approach to this upcoming semester with in-class, face-to-face, with remote, and with online. And so we're looking at the best ways to deliver that information to students. But higher education is changed forever. And what I think will happen is people will see the value of being a part of a university and being engaged in the university, and we'll have multiple ways to make that engagement happen.
Yes, ma'am. And I want to talk about now, on page 26 of the reopening plan, it said, quote, a testing protocol for all students will be implemented. Could you clarify? I actually have it right here. Could you clarify exactly what that means? Does that mean that all of the students at Norfolk State will be required to be tested for COVID-19?
So what we are looking at right now is we have this opportunity to work with other HBCUs, and the 4 HBCUs who have medical schools have a opportunity for us to allow testing in a way that gets that information back to us fairly quickly and is supportive of our populations of students. So we're waiting on the final information there. What we would hope is that every student would be invested in that testing. We're not 100% sure that we can make students test, but we want to ensure that they see this as a community focus, that everyone will need to be tested in order for us to have a baseline so that we can stop any spread of the disease that may be occurring. We also have spaces for students who live on campus who, if they do test positive, would have a space right here on campus to recover and do the 14 days of quarantine if that was needed. So what we're trying to do is to make this not a push-pull experience, but an experience where our students really are invested, as our faculty and staff invested in what is best for the community and the best way to proceed.
Yes, ma'am. And one last thing on the reopening plan, because obviously this is very important to the Norfolk State community and the whole country right now. I know that last week, Governor Nardum, he had said that cases are going up specifically in the Hampton Roads area and in the state of Virginia. And a lot of students wanted to know, I've been seeing this on social media, is there any possibility that the university will reverse its course and decide to go online for the semester? I know many other schools, HBCUs specifically around the country, are going to do that because of the reason African Americans are impacted disproportionately by COVID-19. So is there any possibility that Norfolk State will go online for the semester?
Again, our priority is the safety and well-being of our community. And so as the number of cases go up, we're looking very intently at that. We're working with the local Virginia Department of Health as well as the State Department of Health. And we are looking day to day to see if if this surge continues, it would put potentially students and others at risk. And we do not want that risk to be something that we would say, yes, you can come to school in that level of risk. And it really is, unfortunately, day to day at this point, because it depends on how people respond. So there's some information out there that says, if everybody masked up in 4 to 6 weeks, this would be contained, not over, but contained. But we see that people are not using masks. We see that they're not socially distancing. We know that people are at the beaches and other places, and Hampton Roads is particularly susceptible because we have the beaches here. And so we have to, nothing can be more important than ensuring that we have reviewed everything that we need to review for the health and safety of our community.
Yes, ma'am. I want to turn now to HBCUs and race. Right now, our country is having to acknowledge its original sins after the deaths of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and others. In June, you released a very important statement, and it reads, quote, "Norfolk State University will always be a place where you are valued. We continue our legacy of fighting racism and inequality in America and around the world." We've all seen the video of George Floyd being killed, the protests around the country. What impact do you think HBCUs like Norfolk State can have on the fight for justice and equality?
Well, one of the things, and I had the privilege of participating with our student athletes this past Saturday, had a unity walk where they connected with all of the 6 institutions of higher education in the what we call the 757, right? And they had student athletes from all of the schools, and they came over, and I had an opportunity to speak with the students for a few minutes, and we had Bishop Kim Brown, who is Bishop of Mount Lebanon Churches, and he's also on our board of trustees, and we had our Councilman Rouse, and we had our delegate from Cliff Hayes. And all of these people were together with our students, and they walked from here all the way over to Main Street, where they have dismantled the Johnny Reb Confederate statue. And I was able to be with them from here to there. And what I saw was a commitment and a connection amongst young people of all colors, of all backgrounds, who were saying, this is not acceptable. This is not the way forward. You guys are the model. You guys are making a difference, and you are demonstrating how important it is for us to call things out, expect a different way of being. And what I really loved about this particular march was our police group from here, our chief of police and all of his police were a part of the event, and they engaged the Norfolk City Police, who shut down the streets in order for our students to march and to make this statement. That is a shining example, because our student athletes here right at Norfolk State University are the ones who put this together. That's a shining example of coming together, utilizing the resources, and expecting good things to happen. I just wish we had had more information out about how wonderful that was, because differently from a lot of other places, this was support across the board from our Norfolk City Police, from our Norfolk State University Police, and from our students and student athletes. That's what I think is different about this, and I think that's what's going to carry the day. I see it in every city in the country. I'm so proud of you guys, but I want you to always know I am with you. I'm not saying you guys go out there and do that. I'll see you later. I'm going to be right there with you.
Yes, ma'am. And I know Norfolk State will be on the front lines always in the fight for equal justice and opportunities for everyone across the board. Finally, I want to turn to your first year as president of Norfolk State, from the 16-19 conference that was wonderful to advocating for more funding at NSU Day in Richmond, which I participated in, and also leading the university through a global pandemic. What are you most proud of from your first year as president of Norfolk State University?
So I have to tell you, I am most proud of my students. I get the privilege every day of watching young people who have in their mind who they want to become. And we, the faculty, the staff, the administrators, all have the vision, the mission, and the opportunity to help you to grow and to stretch and to be your most brilliant selves. I am so proud of the students here at Norfolk State University. I love what you guys do. I love how you're engaged. I love how you love the university. It has been my pleasure, and I am humbled by the students at Norfolk State University.
Yes, ma'am. I know we all can't wait to get back on campus and to see you in person. We've all been at home for months now, so of course we can't wait to see you in person. But Dr. J, thank you for your leadership and your candor in this interview. And again, thank you for agreeing to have this conversation with me.
Jalen, I thank you for your time. This is really important to me, and I appreciate you are the shining example of exactly what I said. Brilliance among our students who are committed and who get it done. Thank you.